In this video we'll go through the special values. So if you head down into the resources section and open up the Logisim file and also the Excel spreadsheet, and then you can head into the top level of the Logisim and then head into the Add Subtract. Now you'll see that we've got an extra block here and it's called Special Cases. So in this block we're going to deal with all of the special cases. For example, whenever you add infinity with infinity, or add infinity with plus 0, and add infinity with minus 0, or subtract infinity from infinity, and so on and so forth. So there's quite a lot of special cases that we can take care of, and this all happens within this block. So you can see there's quite a lot of inputs into this. So we take in our overflow inputs and we take in our underflows as well, and our values for EX and the different types here as well. So we've got, which comes from the type section, so telling us whether it's going to be the output's going to be subnormal or whether it's going to be normal, and so on and so forth. And you can see there's quite a lot of outputs as well. So these outputs are taken to the top level of our design. So let's head down in here and we'll see what we've got. Now it's quite a big section. I won't talk through every single detail of it. I'll go through a few of them to give you an idea, and you can always cover the rest of them yourself if you're interested. So you can see here it's in three main blocks. We've got the comparator, a test, and also a multiplex. So let's talk through each of these. So first of all, we're interested in comparing that, as we want to try and find out whether we actually have a minus infinity coming in for X or a minus infinity coming in for Y, and so on and so forth. So if you head into the spreadsheet and if you head into this page here, it's called Special Cases, and you'll see that we've got some information in this spreadsheet here. Now there's lots of different special cases, and we wanted to have some method of working through them to try and catch as many as we possibly can. So what I've done is I've got a column for our X input, a column for our Y input. So this is the entire 32-bit floating point number for X and Y, and we've got a column for addition and a column for subtraction. So we want to try and work out what the basic special cases are. So the basic special cases are going to be a value for plus infinity, a value for minus infinity, plus 0, minus 0, plus X, plus Y, minus X, minus Y. There's not a number, and there's going to be, that's basically it. So there's going to be 9 of them. So we've counted 9 values that we're interested in. Of course, those 9 values can appear in the X and they can appear in the Y. So what I've done is I've in effect squared them. So for example, we're going to have these 9 values, and these 9 values could occur with plus infinity in X, and the 9 values could occur with the minus infinity in the X, and the 9 values can occur with plus 0 in the X, and so on and so forth. So we've got every possibility of combinations of our special values for our X and Y. Now, of course, we're not going to use all of those because some of them are patently silly. For example, the ones in red here, we've got an X value here in the Y column. Well, that's not going to occur because we're not going to put an X value into the Y input, and we're not going to put a Y value into the X input. So anything that says X here in the Y column can just be put into red, and we're not going to use it. So for example, this one here and this one, and you can work through and you can get rid of the ones that are just patently silly. Now we're also going to have the same thing whenever we refer to a Y value within the X input. We're not going to have a Y input into the X, so we can get rid of these as well. And if you do that, then you can go into the filter and you can filter out everything that's in red. So for example, I could click on here and I can filter by colour and just change it to green. So that means that we've got rid of a whole load of them. So we're now left with here 49 out of those. So these are the 49 special cases that we want to build. So if we head into the Logisim, well, first of all, you note that we have to actually generate all of these special cases. So we have to be able to see if we've got a plus infinity or a nan or a minus infinity. So in Logisim, we do that in the comparator section here. So I'll zoom out just so you can get a grasp of how big this is. So this is the comparators that we've generated, and you can see here, if I make it a little bit bigger, that we're going to have the x values here, and you can see we've got the y values here. So we're going to have an x value for plus infinity in x, minus infinity in x, plus 0x, minus 0x and not a nan, and the same thing for the y values. And we're also going to have the plus x and the minus x and plus y and minus y. And we've created these simply from a comparator. So we take the x value in, so that's our 32-bit floating point number, and we compare it to the plus infinity. So plus infinity is this number here. And if this is equal to it, then we get an output. And again, we do that for the minus infinity, which is this number, the plus 0 here, and we've got the minus 0 here as well. And we make these comparisons, and we do the same comparisons for the y values. And you can see here, in order to find out whether we've got a plus x, we're going to look at the sign here. So if this is a positive value, then we'll know we've got a plus x. But we're not interested in whether it's going to be, it could be a plus infinity x, or whether it's going to be a plus 0 or a nan. And we can work through the same for the minus x and the minus y and the plus y. There's another 4 here that are quite handy, and we're going to use them, and that's whether to work out whether the value of x is equal to y. So for example, if we were to subtract two numbers that were equal, we're going to get a value of 0. So we can just fix that at 0. We don't need to work through the adder or subtractor. But we need to be able to work out whether x is equal to y, and whether both are plus, and x is equal to minus y, and also minus x plus minus y, and x minus plus y. Okay, so these are the 4 options that we're interested in. Again, we're not going to go through these in detail. You can have a wee look and you can put in the probes and test them for yourself. But those are the outputs that we're interested in generating. So once we've generated all of the values here, we're going to have to then work through our test conditions. So we work through the test conditions in this block here. Now I'll zoom out again, and you can see here that it's quite a big section. There's quite a lot of tests, but we've caught most of them with the Excel spreadsheet. So let's go in and we'll just look at one as an example here. So let's say, for example, we're looking to find out whether the output is plus infinity. So the output is going to be plus infinity. It's got an option. We could do it. We could end up with plus infinity through an addition. We could end up with a plus infinity through a subtraction. So we need to do a test for addition or subtraction, and we can get that through the plus and minus button here. That tells us whether we've actually performed an addition or a subtraction. Now, if we look at the addition one here, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different tests here. The 4 plus for addition. For example, if you were to add plus infinity in x and plus infinity in y, then you would get a plus infinity. So if the input was plus infinity in x and a plus 0 in y, again you get plus infinity. If it's plus infinity in x and minus 0 in y, you get plus infinity, and so on and so forth. So you can read down through these. Now, we got these from the spreadsheet. So for example, we're looking to see if we're going to perform an addition, and the result was going to be plus infinity. So we can come down here and filter this on plus infinity. So that's the plus infinity there. So these are the options for plus infinity. We could have plus infinity for x, plus infinity for y, that was the first one, plus infinity for x, plus 0 for the y, that's another one. So we're going to have to perform 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tests. And those are the 9 tests that you see here. So that's the 9 tests that you see here. Now, we go through the exact same thing for creating the minus infinity and also a few other ones, for example, minus 0 and not a number. And there's the minus y and there's a plus 0. So we just work through that table here and we go through each of these values and we see how they're generated, and then we just go ahead and we build that generation. So we just need to put this one and this one through an AND gate. If both of them are true, then the output here would be minus x. And that's really all there is for that part of it. If we head back into here, there's another couple of sections here you'll notice as well. The overflow comes in here. So the overflow would have overflow 1 and overflow 2. If either of them go high, we know that it's overflowed. But of course we want to know whether it's overflowing to plus or minus infinity. So in order to do that, we just put in a test for the sign here. And if the sign is going to be a positive or a negative value, it will tell us whether we're overflowing to plus infinity or minus infinity. So I'll leave you to have a look at some of those yourself. Now, we also then have to work through this multiplex section, but we'll go through that in the next video. So thank you for listening. I'll get you on the next video. Goodbye.